I have been a staunch advocate and really an eyewitness that it's impossible to have equity without data.
Could it be the eligibility and redistribution engine that American cities need? A former mayor of Compton, California thinks so. We'll talk about it on The Future in Context.
TFIC takes you deeper into the stories that are shaping the future of state and local government.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
You're not Buzz Lightyear.
I'm Siri.
And I'm Google.
And I am Alexa.
Alexa seems so smart, I think we'd have a lot to talk about.
Pew, pew.
From governing and government technology, this is The Future in Context. With Ashley Silver, I'm Paul Taylor.
It is a civic innovation straight out of Compton. The California city was home to America's largest experiment with universal basic income. The mayor at the time was Asia Brown, who has since gone on to join a software platform called Forward. At root, it is an eligibility and redistribution engine that helps communities access government assistance more efficiently through human-centered technology. More than 200 cities and counties have used the platform so far.
Governing's Carl Smith is back on the big show. Welcome back, Carl.
Good to be here.
So you got to sit down with Asia Brown. Now, my observation that for a former mayor of a pretty good-sized American city, Brown comes across as an accidental politician, but someone who has been incredibly intentional in making cities good places to live for the people who live there.
Well, you're very right about that. She got undergraduate and graduate degrees in urban planning, and always knew she wanted to help in that area. She worked as a planner for several different cities in Southern California that were in the same kind of category as Compton, disadvantaged, facing the sorts of challenges that plague a lot of urban areas. And it just happened that her experience there led her back to what essentially is her hometown of Compton. She grew up in Pasadena, but back to a place that was a roots place for her to bring all of her experience and goodwill to bear.
I definitely had no idea I would ever spend time in politics. I did have a desire to work in government. I recognize that really experiencing poverty in my own life, that systems and communities really had a very powerful part to play in how individuals developed and the opportunities that they had and had access to. And so as I served urban planning and economic development at USC, I was just enamored by learning the technical details of what I innately knew to be true, and really had a heart to just take all that I had learned in undergraduate, graduate school, right into communities that were underserved, and really to help create change and impact at the community level.
A lot of cities like it have across the country. Do you think that your success really started with perhaps with the fact that you did have training, but also that you came in with a clear plan and were able to just push forward because you knew where you were going?
I definitely think the plan was a very strong catalyst to giving a blueprint of not only where we were going, but how other stakeholders, from private investors, the business community, community-based organizations, where they can see themselves a part of the solution and where the city was navigating to. I also believe that just training and understanding about city systems and the limitations that government innately has really helped me to design a realistic and pragmatic navigation strategy. Government is really the last frontier where technology and efficient systems are installed with ease. And so understanding how government is built and designed really is key in order to understand how to best move government forward. And so I think a combination of those factors were very helpful.
Getting to the guaranteed income, I would assume, you talked about what was possible for people because of opportunities they did or didn't have. I suppose that's the most elemental opportunity, is having enough to get by. How did that come to play? And, I think the program is not operating now, but maybe it'll come back. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about what was behind that and how you felt that went when you implemented it.
Absolutely. We were in a place in a nation in the middle of the pandemic, and we were experiencing just government gridlock where there was high need and funding that government wanted to deliver to communities, but really because of government's design and disparate systems and inefficiencies, it was very difficult for communities like Compton to even deliver aid to communities. And so we designed the Compton Pledge as a way to deliver resources directly to community. We ultimately created this safety net and transfer of benefits and other resources to 800 residents that we randomly selected. We work with a research partner as well to ensure that we were connecting with the socio-demographic groups that were directly reflective of the Compton community. We delivered resources in a range of $300 to $600 per month for 2 years. At the time, it was the largest guaranteed income pilot of its kind in the US, and it really was a powerful demonstration about what the private philanthropic community in line with a very policy driven mission can do to create direct relief and also impact in families throughout our nation. And the other caveat is that we delivered these resources completely outside of government. We literally used a separate technology platform to be able to transfer funds and really were able to navigate around all of the red tape inherent to impacting existing aid programs or benefits that families may experience in order to receive this additional relief. So I believe it also speaks to just the greater challenge that government continues to face of how it delivers critical resources that are really based and unique on the individuals that these programs are designed to impact in the most efficient, transparent way. And so that's really one of the reasons why I'm really excited about what companies like Forward are able to really do for government because they're able to address the static nature of government and come in and streamline systems and deliver resources quickly when people really need them most.
I just wonder if you managed to capture any metrics to show that this aid, lifted them up and moved them to the next step, and it wasn't some sort of enabling thing that didn't have positive consequences.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question and that really powerful point. There, now we're very fortunate. There's a large body of empirical data being collected across the nation that really provides a true depiction of what actually happens when people receive aid when they need it most. Number one, data demonstrates that people overwhelmingly use the resources for their critical needs: food, shelter, transportation. There's also data that reflects that people actually use these resources to actually take time off of work to go on job interviews to be able to increase their pay. There are individuals that go back to school to increase their skill sets. There are individuals that actually start businesses and organizations that also help community. And so in Compton in particular, we saw an increase of people actually being able to get higher paying jobs, of people actually starting new vehicles to create income streams for their families or to impact community. There was an overwhelming sense of wellness and well-being with people actually feeling less stressed and having their blood pressure reduced because they don't feel the compaction of poverty in such a high degree. And so there's just really powerful data that shows that people do the right thing when they get an extra hand. And that there's very tangible impacts on families and especially children that are experiencing poverty. And so much so, we've seen HUD now, Housing and Urban Development, they are now piloting a guaranteed income type of vehicle in partnership with philanthropy, but really focusing on what is the best way to deliver housing aid to people outside of government systems, where essentially the federal government aid must go down to the state level, down to the local level, sometimes a county level, into a housing authority, and then those resources connect with individuals and families. So they're now stepping back to ask the question, what is the most efficient utilization of federal aid to get to the hands of people that need it most. What is the true cost of red tape? And what is the most impactful way to utilize tax resources, which is really a powerful question to ask, especially in this new technology age that we are living in.
So, what is it about Forward that you think will help you keep doing this kind of work and creating more equity and opportunity and lifting up other communities? I assume you guys work all over the country.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Forward.
how is that going to help you do more of this?
I have been a staunch advocate and I witnessed that it's impossible to have equity without data. And governments, they can have the most audacious policy goals and desires to route resources where they need in order to lift people out of poverty. But without data, it's very difficult to do that. And so places and systems like Forward really provide government with a platform to not only deliver resources and to track data and outcomes, but to actually spatially and geographically route what is occurring within their communities and ensure that aid is directed to those areas that have the greatest impact and then report out on that. I personally believe that government should be accountable, it should be transparent and accessible. And in order to do that, technology is needed to be able to have a single source of truth and to really answer the question like, what is the return on investment for our tax dollars? And so without systems like Forward, it's very difficult for government to make the case that they're using funding efficiently, that number two, funding is going where it should go, and number three, that those resources were expended in the areas that it was actually designed to impact. And so I'm really excited about what technology can do for government. And with companies like Forward, 80% of our team actually comes from government or nonprofit organizations. So we understand these systems that we are endeavoring to impact. We understand how to navigate around the red tape and actually can really come in and be a very powerful thought partner to people on the front lines in government doing the hard work every day that really just need some tools and resources to elevate the level of service that they're able to provide.
The way I understand, looking at the website and trying to understand what you're offering, am I right in thinking that to a large extent it's bringing, data, IT, and even data science in a way to the process of administering funds that are available and making it easy to access them, and then, as you mentioned, making it possible to track what happens with them, and that's an administrative process that can be cumbersome. And obviously the worst thing that can ever happen is for a state or federal government to say, well, here's $1 billion to solve X, and then
Yes.
it doesn't solve X and it doesn't go to the people it was
Yes.
supposed to go to. Is that sort of the gap you guys are trying to fill?
Absolutely, Carl. That is the gap that we are filling, and then there's also one additional component from the human experience element, where every day people are touching government in very disparate places and silos, trying to seek aid, and so Forward delivers a common application or a unified portal for an individual that when they touch government, they can identify all the things that they need based on their data. They can upload their critical information one time and get the help that they need. And so it really centralizes how people touch government and the help that they're able to receive instead of having to pack up and go to three different separate bureaus. They can go to one place and get what they need in a very efficient way.
And are you thinking, there's a giant pile of money for example, about to come available through the Inflation Reduction Act for all sorts of homeowner incentive
Yes,
funds for home retrofits or et cetera, et cetera. Is Platform can enable that too?
absolutely. We actually are in delivery for our first IRA hub platform for the city of Long Beach to do just that, to be able to combine all of the available resources and aid and provide a centralized portal for community members and also for the business community for the city of Long Beach.
Are you in a position to sort of help make sure that the idea that disadvantaged communities get their 40% share of all this money? Is that built into the platform too?
Absolutely. It is built into the platform. There are spatial mapping and other layers of data that can be utilized to identify based on each individual policy area or program area what the potential for service in that geographic location is, and then really what the gap in service is as well. So a community can very clearly see where the need is for a particular program for Justice 40, and then identify, number one, how to connect with those individuals, population, and then also to ensure that whatever the gap is, they can also make some evidence-based decisions on how to reach that population to get them what they need, and be able to report out to the community at large what their performance has been in delivering those resources.
What would you say about this thought? It strikes me that, some of the communities most in need of this aid are probably most under-resourced and,
Absolutely.
are not going to get this out to the community without a platform like this. Maybe they've got two people chasing all this down.
Absolutely.
Is that part of the idea too? Is that a correct perception on my part?
1,000% correct perception. Very innate. It's just the disparity that communities that are underserved and under resourced creates this compound gap of, they have few staff and high need, and just disparate systems in order to deliver and close those gaps. So the communities that really need these resources that are under Justice 40, they're going to have a lower chance of actually accessing them because of those staffing shortages and technology gaps and data gaps. So tools like Forward are very cost effective and efficient to really help scale the capability of governments that don't have a team of 10 people running just a few programs. They probably, more than likely, as you said, have one or two people running over 20 programs.
And this might be hard to answer, but you seem like an empathetic person, and you probably talk to your colleagues. You've got so many people who were in government doing this now. Are they at the company? I mean, are they thinking that this is going to help them accomplish things they didn't manage to accomplish within government, and that's why they're there? And it's not just the pay is better.
Yes, definitely. Our company very much is mission minded, and the ethos is that we are really creating opportunity and equity in communities. So we get a chance to continue to create impact and really helping to deliver tools and resources that we wish we had. So it's a very fulfilling mission to still be able to impact government and communities.
Maybe we can talk again. There's plenty of good work yet to be done.
Absolutely, we're doing the good work daily. So I look forward to it anytime.
So, in your discussion with Brown, it gets to this really interesting point where technology could really help underserved communities if only they had it. What did you think coming away from that conversation?
Well, it's very true. It's funny because a lot of the problem with resources is connecting the resource to the person who needs it. And as we discussed, some of the communities where you have citizens who need those resources the most have the fewest people to help get them out. So technology platforms can be ways to help citizens know what help is available to them, and also make it easy for them to apply and receive, and keeps the city honest about what happened with those resources and gives them the ability to report about what happened. So it's a really great technology application, actually.
Interesting stuff, Carl. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. It was a good conversation.
Asia Brown is the former mayor of Compton, California. Carl Smith is a senior writer with Governing. We've put links to the Forward platform and Governing's coverage of UBI in the show notes at tfic.tech. Our editorial and production team includes Theo Douglas and Kaylee Tedrow. Our executive editor is Noelle Nail, and our editors-in-chief are Destin Heisler and Cathalia Robinette.
And that will do it for us this time around. Next time out, Mind the Gap, as in the fiscal crisis hitting America's public transit systems. Skip Descant and Jared Bray will be here for another episode of Your Mileage May Vary. That's next time on The Future in Context. For Ashley Silver, I'm Paul Taylor. Thanks for listening.